Not. Yo, what's up, guys? Today I did not decide to trade, and it was because we had no news, as well as price action was just absolutely horrendous. As you can see, the high time frame wasn't too bad, but I'm just going to break down real quick like what my thoughts were going into the day. So, going into the day, you can see that we had two unfilled fair value gaps, right? Two unfilled fair value gaps right below us that were formed the prior day, which is Tuesday. Alright, so that was a solid target going into the day. Because most likely on the 4 hour, we are going to rebalance it if it's that close. Okay, so going into the day, I alerted to my Discord that I wanted to see higher prices due to this London SMT, right? So you see this London SMT, there's an inversion, 15-minute SIBI inversed, and we were respecting it, right? We continued higher. And this is my main target right here. These Asia smooth highs, all these accumulated smooth highs, that was my target, right? And, you know, once this was hit, you know, my initial thought was that we might head higher to these prior day highs. But, I mean, it is at the same time possible that we can just continue lower. So it was really 50-50 at this point, so I decided to not execute a trade because my bias was unknown. And, you know, low impact, not any news at all. There was no news. So today was an improbable day. So I did not decide to trade and execute a trade, and I'm glad I did so, because I would have ended up losing the trade, and I would go over that in a second. So yeah, so seeing this 50-minute inverse right here at 6:15, I wanted to see a continuation higher off of this BISI as well. As you see, we ran to these smooth highs. Once we made it to these smooth highs, I kind of, you know, wanted to hold this London SMT and continue to believe that it's going to distribute price higher. But, you know, when there's an objective like these smooth highs, and there's a London SMT, there's a London manipulation, sometimes, you know, once we distribute to those highs, to that objective point during New York, you know, that can be considered our, you know, manipulation. And then from there, if we form SMT, we can distribute lower in this case. So that's exactly what happened. We swept all these smooth highs that I wanted to see swept, and at this point we had both bullish and bearish high time from SMT. Okay, so again, London SMT right here already distributed higher to our objective, our current objective. But at the time I was thinking that, you know, our objective might be up here to these prior day highs. But as you can see, price just dumped. So this is why exactly how I stood out. As you can see, price obviously dumped past this bearish SMT, breaking it and continuing lower. But I was paying attention, you know, pointing this out in my chat. This 15-minute BISI, right? I was telling them that pretty much my bias is based off if we respect this BISI or not. Okay, so this BISI was already being respected for 30 minutes right here. Really, as you can see, really bad 15-minute candles, right? These are absolutely horrendous. We create a huge range and then close barely inside of it, right in the middle of it. Every single time for 30 minutes we do that. 2 candles. And that enough told me, okay, I shouldn't be trading this right now. Let's wait for it to clear up, possibly by 10 o'clock. If there's nothing, I'm done for the day. Okay, and as you can see, 10 o'clock came and we just dumped. And at that time, I just got off the charts because there was no setup. And I was also looking at this 15-minute BISI, okay? And this is something interesting that I've learned over time. And it's when there is a, okay, so look at this. When there is a fair value gap that gets traded into left, and then the price comes back to it multiple times back to back to back, typically price will eventually break it. Okay, so as you see right here, it's a little different when price is inside of a fair value gap. Let's just say it's a little different when price is inside of a fair value gap that is continuously being respected and price continues to stay inside of it like this. Okay, this is a little different, right? So price is in it for almost price is inside this fair value gap for an hour. Okay, it's inside this fair value gap for an hour. It's not distributing down to the fair value gap, offering fair value, continuing higher, returning back down into fair value, and continuing higher over and over again. It's not doing that. Okay, so this is a very clear fair value gap, and it obviously worked well. Okay, something like this is completely different. Okay, you see that price runs down into the fair value gap once. Okay, continues higher, distributes from it, continues back lower into the fair value gap again, continues higher, continues back down into the fair value gap again 3 times. 3 times pretty much. 4 times. Because we left up back here again, continued lower. Okay, so pretty much 4 times we returned back into this fair value gap after price trying to distribute from it. And pretty much just tells me that price is, price is not willing to work off of that fair value gap. Price is struggling to distribute off of that fair value gap higher. Okay, so this tells me that most likely, eventually, it will break the fair value gap. So with this in mind, 50-50 at this point, I'm not telling my Discord, bearish or bullish. I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm only going to tell them shit that I'm pretty confident in. And obviously, I wasn't very confident in this price action because at this point, anything can kind of happen. But yeah, so looking more in depth, once we inverse these fair value gaps, new price is going lower, and as you can see right here, we had LRLR. All right, low resistance liquidity. And let's go on the 5 minute to make it a little more clear. So a constant trend line going up and up and up, and this is pretty much just sell stops just continuously being built up at each low as we go higher. Retail traders continuously going long, 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 long as well we go up. So when you see this, typically, that is a good target. Okay, you want to see quick volatility that dumps straight through it. When you see LRLR, typically, if it is in the right narrative, price will be very volatile when attacking that level. Okay, so with this in mind, we have LRLR right here, as well as we have the H4 BISI. I think this was the buy side level or the sell side level that was aligned with the 4-hour SIBI. Yeah, so 4-hour BISI right here, aligned with this sell side. So sell side, smooth lows, I consider these smooth lows, and H4 BISI. So this is our target for the time being. As you see, we distributed pretty well from it. But I also want to point towards this SMT as well, which is the prior day SMT from yesterday. Okay. So the reason why today, looking at it in hindsight, obviously, I should not have been bullish after we formed this SMT was that we had a protected high right here. A protected high. We failed to swing it right here. A protected high, formed when there's SMT. And price, fails to swing that protected high. And that tells me pretty much that we're going lower. So we're stacking bearish SMT on the high time frame. I should have been looking for lower prices instead of, focusing on a small, not a small, but a London SMT that's already done its main distribution higher to our current objective, which was these equal highs. Okay. So that is something I obviously learned today. And then going into the 1 minute, these 2 trades that I was thinking about taking, right? And again, this comes with time and understanding, when are good days and when are bad days, right? When are good days to actually, risk capital versus when are bad days, okay? So, see, we have the high time from SMT. And at this point, it is pretty obvious that we are, we're kind of wanting to go lower. Even though we are kind of in a low time frame range, I indicated this as well because it's kind of risky taking a trade within this little 1 minute range. And as you can see right here, we had this data low, 9:30 release, embargo lift, and we failed to sweep this sell side. Okay, and with the bearish high time from bearish SMT at the highs, I want to see a failure swing right here at the data low, failure swing again for the 3rd time. Sorry, boys, that's my friends. Yeah, so we have price continuing to fail, to swing these lows, right? And this is just an obvious 1 minute liquidity pool that's being built, okay? So once I saw this, and it's not a super obvious inversion, but it did end up working. For people that, put their stop loss at this order block in this bad of price action, you got cooked. But this is an actual trade that ended up working out. But yeah, going over this real quick, I was looking into taking this long. Again, I was 50-50. And I had the urge to take these 2 longs, but I didn't because I knew that price action wasn't the best. And on the high time frame, nothing was aligning, so I decided to not trade. And it actually ended up saving me. So, yeah, so we learned a lot of lessons today. Took no losses. So we have 0 RPNL, so not a bad day. Hope you all found videos to... Hope you all found today's video helpful. And I will see y'all boys later. Peace out.